Okay, welcome to the first proper session, intro session for Rosemary Schilt, who will eventually be joining the Ballad of Dirk and Ludger. I guess first thing off, Lawson, is there any sort of like introduction you wanted to say for your character in terms of who she is, or you know what our audience should know coming into this?
Um, sure. The idea for Rosemary for me was that she would have been orphaned as a very small child and raised among a mercenary band. And now she is breaking out on her own. And that's where she has come into this story here.
Okay. So I guess for you, does Rosemary have a nom de plume? Like, does she have a name that she uses, or is she just Rosemary to everybody? Or um,
Rosemary, Rose,
okay.
just whatever works.
So, you have received a friend of yours has basically pulled some connections. You're sitting out on your own. You're looking for whatever it is, a group to run with, an employer, something to actually do. And it's come across your table that a man by the name of Wolfgang Kellerman is potentially interested in hiring Rosemary for a uh, simple, maybe not so simple job that her skills and background might apply to. I will say that Wolfgang Kellerman is not at all a well-known name to Rosemary. He's not someone who has any sort of fame that that she would have come across in her earlier travels. But you have been directed to an inn. It's not in a major town. It's sort of like it's a trade or a coach house that sort of follows the road that runs along the Reich. And the inn is called the Inn of Crossed Lances, or they call the Crossed Lances Inn. And you've simply been told to head there, ask at the bar for a Wolfgang Kellerman, and he will potentially have some work for you to do. Because the area around the trade route there is pretty safe, being it is a trade route. There have been some recent problems with goblins and beastmen, which is largely why most traders tend to favor the river. But if you don't have or can't afford a barge, then the road's the next best way to go. And so as we open our story, Rosemary has found her way to the Cross Lancers Inn, which is itself quite a decent sized building. It's not a small inn. It has its own coach house. It's double story. It has a main tap room plus some side rooms as well, plus accommodations. So it could probably easily sleep 20 or more travelers at any point in time.
Okay.
In fact, why don't you start? Let's start with a roll here. Why don't we start with a perception roll?
Okay.
So it's going to be at just it's plus zero. So straight skill roll. Looks like Rosemary is not overly perceptive with a 29.
85.
No, astounding failure. So I would just say that Rosemary hasn't spent enough time at inns like this to really have a feel for what the standard size and shape of the clientele should be. But there are obviously horses that are in the stables. There are coaches that have been secured just outside the inn itself, and there is definitely a well established trade going on inside the inn as you turn up.
Okay.
Why don't you give us a physical description of Rosemary as she arrives?
Um, Rosemary's a bit tall for a woman, 5.5 feet tall. Uh, on the leaner side, trained in athletics. She's very young, so she's kind of still got her baby face as she's just recently turned 18 years old, maybe a month or two ago. But her eyes are very sharp as she tries to keep other people kind of at bay with her eyes, even if she's not super perceptive, as it seems.
All right. So yeah, you enter the tavern. It's not one of those like everyone stops and turns and looks. You're just one more traveler coming off the road. I don't think you stand out significantly enough to really draw attention. So there's a warm fire in the hearth. There are clearly there are stools at the bar. There are tables. You can see there's also like a door to like a slightly more private bar area with like booths, for example, and that whole section of the bar is separated by a wall as well. But most of the clientele appear to be sort of spending their time in the main part of the bar here. There's a bald, slightly overweight bartender, ubiquitously cleaning a glass with a rag at the bar.
Standard fare.
Yep, and I managed to wrap my headphone cable around the wheel of my chair. There we go, sorted. This is why people thought they buy wireless headphones, but I can't be bothered stuffing around with charging batteries, so...
I guess Rosemary would approach the barkeep.
Morning. Can I get you something?
Okay, Wolfgang sent me here. Is that the reminder?
Wolfgang, yes.
Okay.
All right. You're looking for Wolfgang. Wait here a moment. He goes through a door in the back of the bar area into the I guess the staff only area, and comes back a few moments later, and he opens like you've got like the sort of the folding wooden panel at the end of the bar. He opens up, says, "Come on through. Wolfgang will see you in the back."
I go on through.
All right. You head back into a corridor behind the bar, which is it services a number of rooms, so probably like offices, storage, for example. He knocks on the one of the doors. So I've got the girl out here, and a man opens the door. Let me give you a picture of what he looks like. I'll find the right guy. And I will. Everyone can see it as well. So that man there, although he's not currently holding an explosive, but he has a a conspicuous scar across his face as he sort of sneers and looks you over. And who might you be?
The name is Rosemary.
He leans in with a leer, almost like smelling the air. And he himself like has an odor that you get that sort of vague scent of gunpowder and filth about him. I don't know how much time he spent around black powder, but there is that definitely sort of chemical smell that comes off him. And then a voice from behind him calls out, "It's all right, Landgram. Let her in. I'm keen to have a chat, but just keep an eye on her as well." And the guard man opens the door further, and sitting inside the room is another man who looks like this. Although once again, not currently brandishing brass knuckles. And whilst up to this picture, he has a wooden leg. And he is reclined back in a chair by a table, and he indicates towards another chair at the table. You must be...
Rosemary will go stand next to the chair he indicates.
All right. You're Rose, yes? I was told that you might come my way. I own this establishment. My name is Wolfgang Kellerman, though I suppose you already knew that. I'm looking for someone potentially with your background and skills, and that's why I have reached out. First off, could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, I was an orphan as a child who was raised by mercenaries, and I spent my life doing tough tasks. There's not much more to know about me than that.
Well, the job I've asked you here for, and before we go any further, let me just say that I'm really hoping to keep this conversation private. You know, my interest in this is something that
Of course.
I there is a reason I'm using an intermediary this particular for this particular job. So just keep that in mind. The job involves finding and bringing to me a certain gem. It's a diamond named the Blue Flame. It was stolen more than 20 years ago and has not been seen since, but I have information that could help to find it, and I think that I can provide you with enough of an in to get access to the gem, or at least knowledge of its whereabouts. I am prepared to pay handsomely, say 10 gold crowns for its recovery, if you wanted the job. Just to be clear for you, that's an obscene amount of money compared to what you have right now. So you have 10 pennies. 240 pennies is 1 gold crown. So 10 gold crowns is like 200 times the money you have on you right now.
Well, that is certainly an exorbitant price you're willing to pay for this retrieval of the diamond. But I'd be hesitant to just jump in without any more information. Like, how can I differentiate this diamond from any other diamond, per se?
Very well. Why don't you actually have that seat, and I'll tell you a story.
Yeah, she'll take the seat.
All right. Now, the man who originally stole the Black Flame was a thief by the name of Otto Kessler. He's long dead now, but before he died, he hid the gem and supposedly never told anyone where it was. But a friend of mine has given me some information that has led me to believe that someone does, in fact, know about the location of the gem. A man by the name of Bruno, who is staying in this inn right now, was the chief torturer to a certain Count von Drakensberg, whose men captured and tortured one of Otto Kessler's oldest companions. Bruno interrogated him, but the information he recovered he did not bring to the Count. Instead, Bruno saw the value in such information, and given our long association, he brought it to me. It seems that Kessler had a daughter before he died, a woman by the name of Annalisa, and he told her the location of the Blue Flame. Nowadays, Annalisa Kessler is better known by the name the Black Arrow. And for you, you can roll. Have you got law? What law skills have you got?
You got Lore Reichland.
Yeah, roll law. Law Reichland. It's more Reichland than Wastelander. You can roll that. I'll give you plus 10 based upon your background. So that actually would be close enough because you'd be 52.
50.
Yeah. So
5 off.
Yeah. So the name sounds familiar. Like it definitely sounds like the sort of name that a criminal or criminal enterprise would have. You haven't heard enough about this person to really know a lot more. So given that you probably don't then say, I know that straight away, he says, this is one of the reasons that Bruno came to me. Until this rather minor issue, and he says, he's sort of tapping his wooden leg against the table. I used to lead a band of ne'er-do-wells, let's say, known as the Black Arrows. I had to retire, and Annalise took over after me. I never knew she knew about the location of the Blue Flame until Bruno brought it to my attention. But now that I do, I am very keen to get that information from her. Unfortunately, I did not leave the Black Arrows on good terms. But what I do know is that Annalise is looking to recruit, to expand the nature of her organization, and I think that you, with your background, are the sort of person that she'd be interested in hiring to take into her gang. So what I'm proposing is that I give you the location of the Black Arrows hideout. You make your way there. You put yourself forward as a potential hire to Annalisa. And if she takes you into her confidence, you try and find a way to wrangle the location of the blue flame from her mind. You get that information, or if you're able to recover the jewel and bring it to me, then I will happily pay you the sum discussed.
It certainly feels like a daunting task worth the proposed pay. It could definitely take a significant amount of time to gain Annalisa's trust to the extent she'd share that information. And it is reliant on this secondhand info that she's aware of where the diamond is to be correct. I am more than willing to take on the task and at least see if this information is correct. Although it is very possible that I return to you and say she doesn't actually know and that Bruno is incorrect. Whoever he tortured was incorrect.
I mean, I agree with everything you said so far, although what I will say is that there may be other ways other than finding her confidence to get the information. She may have written it down somewhere in her notes. You might be able to search. You might be able to isolate her to the point that you can threaten her for the information. I don't know. I don't know much about your methods, but simply, this is not a matter of time for me. This gem has been missing for 20 years. And as far as I know, no one else is aware of Annalisa's connection to it. So I would trust you, my dear, to decide the right course of action.
I'm certainly willing to accept that.
Very well. He snaps his fingers, and the man with the foul smell pulls out a sheaf of paper on which has been drawn a map which basically shows the local area and the location of the Black Arrows hideout, which appears to be an abandoned castle about 35 miles north of where the Cross Lancers is. There's also a mark on the map across just near the castle, probably about a mile and a half away from the castle. And Kellerman taps the map there with his finger. Something that I know that potentially the Black Arrow and her crew don't know is that when I was running the organization, I found a secret sally port in the castle. It leads from the dungeons to the hollow of an oak tree here, just outside the view of the castle walls. While it's going to be hard. I'm not saying you should infiltrate via the hidden passage and then try to talk your way in. I'm simply saying that if you needed to get out in a hurry, that you should be aware that there is a passageway that leads from the dungeons.
Dungeons to outside passage. Well, that'll certainly be useful information. Hopefully it's not information I will need to act on. And I agree. I think infiltrating that way would be possibly a poor way to get hired by them. But I thank you for it. It'll hopefully make this job easier to have a little bit of information on this castle.
Now, look, you've traveled here. The least I could do is feed you today, give you free room tonight, so that you're fully prepped before you you head out tomorrow morning.
Thank you very much.
Is there anything else that you need from me for now?
She'll stand up and... No, I think that about covers everything. Unless there's more information you remember to pass along before I depart. I think I have everything I need to at least get started on your task.
Very well. If you... I would avoid speaking with Bruno, even if you do encounter him in the tavern. He is traveling through here today under the Count's colours, with some of the Count's men, so I've avoided speaking to him directly, and you should probably do so too. But just be aware that he is in the taverners. I think it will not be hard to spot the Count's men while you're here. They are the only well-dressed, well-armoured, well-equipped soldiers staying in the tavern right now.
I see no reason to speak to him unless I'm taking his money, so very well.
Very good. Well, he turns to the scar-faced man again and just sort of nods. Leongram, do you want to see our fair lady back to the bar? And the scar-faced man sort of, opens the door for you and sneers as you take your leave, head back to the bar area.
She does like a mock of a curtsy due to the fair lady comment.
Okay.
As she walks out.
Yeah. And you find your way back to the bar, and like Leongram does tell the barkeep to provide you with any food or drink that you request, and to provide you a room that night.
I'll look to the barkeep and anything good that's non-alcoholic. I don't want to be drunk tonight.
All right, I'm sure they have. Well, cider is still alcoholic, but I'm sure they'll have something they can play. This is definitely a roadhouse where people would, for example, bring children through as well if they're traveling from, say, Bogenhafen to Outdoor. So, I'm sure they have.
And then she'll look to take note of where Bruno and his group kind of is in the place.
Yeah. So they're sitting in the other part of the bar. Like if you look around, you sort of go to the door frame and have a look, and you see Bruno. You can identify as a man who looks like this, sitting amongst.
About right.
Yeah. Several men dressed as as guards, wearing definitely symbols of some sort of noble house.
All right. I will take note of where they are and then kind of look around to see if there's anything interesting going on in the rest of the place.
I think that for the most part, people are sort of keeping to themselves. There's a bard playing some music. But otherwise, people are pretty much just... So you've arrived here sort of mid-morning. So a lot of people that spent overnight here are preparing to leave during the day with their own caravans, or other caravans are coming in, and people are sort of coming in to get a meal as they go. So there's a relatively
I've arrived at the least interesting time to arrive.
Yeah. Maybe tonight things might be a bit more interesting, but you certainly got time to rest up. If you wanted to go and wash, there are bathing facilities if you want to wash the dirt of the road off, although you are planning to head out again on the road tomorrow. But you've basically got a day to yourself. If there's anything that, I mean, how does Rosemary keep herself busy normally?
I mean, she's used to traveling on the road. Even when she's by herself, she's not used to sitting in a place for a full day without a real reason to sit there. So I think she'll get some food, and then maybe she'll head up to her room, get her bearings there, and then maybe look later to see if there's anything interesting in the evening.
Okay. Yeah, so with a brass 1 status, normally when you stay in inns in the past, you're used to staying in the common room among everybody else. But, for you, this is quite an extravagance to have a room to yourself. You know, it's certainly not the nice room. It hasn't got its own fireplace, for example, but it is still a private room, and at least for the next, 18 hours, it is yours. So, you can spend your time there. In the evening, once it does roll around, the food here is very good. And I guess as a trade cook, you can appreciate, when food is good quality. And it's certainly, we're talking about things like stew with bread. It's very filling. It's carby and it's proteiny, Sure, there'll be some vegetables with it too, but certainly the meat is the focus of the dish, and the entertainment picks up as well in the evening. There are multiple different performers come through and play. There are groups that have obviously come off the road and have decided to drink heavily. So that you get raucous laughter. You do note though that Bruno and the soldiers with him specifically avoid drinking alcohol. They definitely seem like they are they're watchful. They're on duty is the sort of impression you get of them.
And I will take note of that again and avoid them as I can. Is there anyone like obviously drunk people gambling?
Definitely. Yeah, there would definitely be gambling taking place here tonight. Probably games of dice.
I'd like to try to slide over to a group that doesn't seem too enclosed within themselves and maybe hop in for a game or two.
Okay, no worries. Let's see what you do. Why don't you give me a gamble roll at plus 20, given that they're inebriated and you're not.
Plus 20?
Yep. Okay, nice. So, let's say that you bring yourself an extra 15 pennies. We'll be up to 25 pennies.
Works out well.
Yeah. So, and it's fun time. It's not just the victories, but it's also the I guess the shared time with people, the laughter, the fact that they're all horribly drunk, so they don't seem to mind losing.
And I'm active. I'm again actively not drinking alcohol.
Yeah, I figure as much. And I figure basically once it gets late enough, you'll head back to your room, or for the evening.
As long as there's no encounters, that sounds like a plan to me.
Yep. You're settling down for the night when there is a relatively heavy knock at your door.
She'll keep her dagger where she can grab it.
Yeah.
She's no reason for her to be expecting anyone tonight. So she'll have that in her hand as she opens up the door slowly.
All right. You see one of the soldiers that bears the Duke's colours, or the Count's colours, standing at your door.
Sir, I think you have the wrong room.
He looks like both ways down the hall and says, "My master would like a word with you. There is money in it for you."
May I have your master's name?
He once again looks to make sure that he doesn't think anyone's listening, and he leans in quietly and says, "Count von Drakenborg."
Well, I don't think that's a name I can say no to. Very well. And I'll make sure the dagger isn't visible as I follow him out.
Okay, no worries. He leads you like only a few doors down to one of the other rooms in the tavern, and then he knocks on the door and it opens up. Inside are more of these men, more of these soldiers, along with Bruno and another man who, I'll show you the picture, although he is not dressed in his full finery. He is certainly dressed a bit more incognito. But, you know, you can't hide a moustache that well twirled. It's,
All right, Raleigh fingers. Rosemary's very hesitant right now.
Yeah, he smiles as you come in. Ah, excellent. Permit me to introduce myself. He bows with a flourish. I am Count Amadeus von Drakenberg. I am, as you can see, traveling incognito, but I'm sure that you will not abuse my confidence. The reason
Very well.
that I've asked you here, first off, was that you look very capable. Someone who might like an opportunity to make some more money. My associate here, indicates towards Bruno, shared some information with the owner of this establishment in confidence, not because he was betraying me, but because I told him to. I needed information about, I needed someone to know where to find a certain group called the Black Arrows, and I believe that might be something that he has shared with you. I wanted to see if I could offer an alternative deal to what Herr Kellerman might be sending your way. You see, I'm offering a bounty of 20 gold crowns for the head of the Black Arrow herself. Quite specifically, in fact, I would like her head on a silver platter. In fact, he snaps his fingers, and a man sort of hands him a literal, like, silver, a pure plate silver tea platter. Says, I'll even provide the platter. And you can keep the platter after the job is done if you like. You bring me the head of Black Arrow, there's 20 gold crowns in it for you.
I guess Rosemary will take the platter and kind of look at it for a second.
Yeah, it's definitely, this is worth more, like this itself is probably worth at least a couple of gold crowns. Pure silver, you know, very nicely made.
You seem to have a very negative feeling towards this person to have such a visceral delivery of her head.
Let's just say that the operations of her particular organization have caused some stress for my lands. Why don't you, let's see, give me an intuition roll. I'll give you a +10 on this one.
Oh, it only lets me do +20.
Okay, I'll give you a +20 on this one. Hey, 0-2, look at that.
Rolled a 2. Doesn't matter what you
okay, nice. Yeah, so he is definitely lying to you about his intent. This is not simply a case of her, plaguing his lands with her gang. That there is something a lot more personal about this, as you observe. Like the demand for her head is quite specific. So, but he is not laying that onto you. But it's clear to you that he is not telling you the full truth.
Kind of nod my head and go. And is there a reason that you want someone else to do this? Given your power, just knowing where she's located, you'd probably be able to claim her head very personally.
Well, as I said, I've already put a bounty out on this particular villain. And so far, none have stepped forward to claim it. It is unseemly for a man of my station to be sending guards into the wilderness to hunt down petty criminals like the Black Arrow is. So, and as I said, until I knew that Kellerman knew exactly where to find her, I didn't really have anywhere to send them to. If you're unable to do what I've asked, certainly I will have to send my men in, but I think that there would be significant additional loss of life I'm not looking for a protracted engagement here. I'm simply looking to cut the head of the snake off. And I think that a properly motivated, properly recompensed, skilled individual could take care of that for me.
Very well. If the opportunity rises, I would be glad to carry out the acquisition of this bounty.
Excellent. Well, let me give you the details of where you can find my estate to bring the head to, should you be successful. And he has someone write it down. Sorry, you can read, can you?
Can I read without the advanced skill?
I believe you can. Yeah, enough to be able to.
As long as it's in a language I know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You're not going to.
What language does he write it in?
Reiklander. I mean, presumably, it's an address. It's not like he's giving you a tome of information as such. It's enough that you can follow the address anyway. I would say that this guy is famous enough in the area that it wouldn't be hard to track him down anyway.
He just writes it into lay-in for no reason. I will take the information.
Yep.
It will hopefully be a pleasure doing business with you when I return with this head. It may be some time, but maybe someone will beat me to it as well.
Well, the bounty still stands, but I am not actively looking to hire more people unless people said grab one of the bounty posts and decide to make a move. That would be the only sort of competition you might face. Charming evening, my dear. Please enjoy your night, and I wish you all luck in your endeavor.
I will nod my head and head back out the door if he'll let me.
He does. You find yourself standing in the hallway with a silver platter.
And back to my room.
Okay, no worries.
As long as there's no more interruption.
No, you may make it back to your room.
No Wolfgang to berate me for going in there.
No. Is there anything else?
I guess I will stay there until the morning and get ready to head out.
Okay, so you're looking to just head to bed now. All right. Would you please give me a plus 40 perception roll?
Plus 40. Oof.
Oh, okay. It's a failure. All right. So in the night, you are woken. So this is not the roll. This is something. So you missed the first part, but the second part can't fail to wake you. You're woken by the sound of glass shattering in your bedroom, followed by a heavy metallic thump. And as you sort of sit up in bed, you see lying on the ground, probably about 5 feet from you in front of the window, is a circular metal sphere with a burning wick. It's definitely some sort of explosive that's been pegged through your window.
I'll try to roll off the bed and heat the mattress and maybe the bed frame between me and the explosive.
Okay,
assuming I don't have the time to get out of there.
Okay, so you're looking to basically create a barrier between you and the explosive, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, no worries.
Maybe with a silver platter too, just for
fun. Give me a athletics test at plus 20. Okay. Yeah, you pitch the bed up, and there's a deafening boom in the room, and pieces of wood and metal are flung against the bed frame. I'll say I'm not going to worry about dealing wounds here. You take some superficial scratches. But you had enough time to, like I said, the explosive wasn't directly to the bed; it was to the closest window, so you still had a bit of distance between it. But yeah, you find your ears ringing, and yeah, that's what the situation you're in right now.
Well, I moved the bed out from on top of me and kind of look around to see if there's anyone charging into the area.
No, you can hear sounds outside of some sort of, not so much a scuffle, but just sort of like raised voices, and like, you know, the sound of like horses in protest.
And I'll just head outside and try to make sure that anything I have out there is okay.
I mean, I think you arrived on foot, so I think everything everything you own is like, you know, in within arm's reach, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you look outside the window, you can see in the darkness below a figure now racing away on a horse from the like, he's basically like freed his horse, and it's early as the morning, so no one was really up. But he's obviously gone and got his horse from the stables and woken the stable hands and frightened the other horses, and the explosion has caused the horses to begin to panic as well. And now this guy, you know, with his wide hat, is now riding away into the darkness on the road.
Was I in a similar room to Drakenberg?
No, he was. So first off, so you were in an outward-facing room. He was on an inward room which didn't have a window, but had the benefit of a fireplace, and obviously enough ventilation to let the smoke out. But
so I got a fancy room, but he got a fancier one. Got it.
Yes, that's right.
I was just trying to think. Maybe she'd think that they were aiming for his room and got the wrong one, but I don't think that would apply here.
And his room was across the hall as well, so this was not just a case of going through the wrong window if they were looking to get to him. In any case, I mean, they could have been trying to get to the person either side of you, maybe, and they hit the wrong window. But yeah, certainly.
She is a bit confused. She can't think of anyone that would want to do this specifically to her.
Yeah.
But she'll move into the main area of the inn.
Yeah, I mean, people are up now. The explosion has sort of woken people. You know, you sort of see Kellerman is up and about and hobbling around and trying to sort this out. Like he sort of sees you, but doesn't directly approach you because he's trying to avoid, you know, much direct association. But he looks as confused as anybody else about what's going on.
And what time is it again?
I mean, you don't have a watch, but you know, it's the early hours of the morning. Yeah, it's like in the 2 or 3 a.m. It's still completely dark outside, but it's well after everyone here would have gone to bed. So I mean, there's probably like a couple of really hardcore drinkers who are still, or probably fallen asleep in the at their table in the bar as such. But yeah, bar service would have stopped at this point in time already.
Okay, so there's no barkeep there to.
Well, the barkeep's come down to respond, but he wouldn't have been awake when it started.
Yeah. So, is there anyone that looks like they were awake when this happened?
There are people
isn't super inebriated.
Yeah, there are people sort of like there's already a group of people who are sort of all sharing verbally notes of what they've seen. You know, someone said that you get a couple of things, including references to a man with a scar. Got aggro from another person.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I guess she'll just kind of take notes from what everyone's saying. She'll look around, see if she sees the man that was with Wolfgang earlier.
No, he's definitely not here.
She knew he has a scar.
Yeah. And he smelled like gunpowder.
Yeah.
He's definitely not here.
So she surmises she's not really going to get any information out of this. But she's awake, so
yeah,
might as well be a good time for her to head off.
Okay. Well, I mean, you've had probably like 5 hours sleep, so
that's enough. That's what I get normally, if that.
Yep. Okay, you pack up your stuff and you you head out into the night to begin your long trek. All right. Um, it's a cold night. You know, intermittent rain basically. You know you have traveler's garb to cover you. Um, why don't you give me a perception roll at +20?
Maybe I'll pass one of these one day.
Maybe.
Hey.
All right. At least initially, like the still fresh hoof prints from the horse that rode off in the mud, definitely move in the direction that you're going to be going. Yeah, I mean, like you're gonna be heading along roads for quite some time before you sort of go off road towards this castle. But at least in the direction you're following the road, that horse was going the same way. Although probably within about an hour of walking, yeah, the mud has come through enough that you've lost track of the horse's hoofprints.
Is there like a tree line around here?
Certainly
That
there
I
is.
could-
Yep. Yeah, I mean, like either side of the road is pretty much woods. You're in the wilderness basically between towns.
I think I'll move to the tree line for a bit as I walk, at least until the sun starts to come up. Try to keep my position covered at least.
Okay. I don't need any rolls for this. You're sort of you're staying as much out of sight as possible. Eventually the morning comes. I'm trying to think of how long could you walk 35 miles in a day? Probably not. If you were, I mean, you probably could if that's what you spent the entire day doing. But I would imagine probably for most people that would be something you break up into two shorter things. Yeah. 35 miles is like 50 kilometers, and it takes like when I do a 28K walk, that's like 6 hours.
Yeah, walking speed between 2.5 to 4 miles an hour. So looking at a 10-hour walk, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, look, you started, you know, in the early hours of the morning. If you want to, you could push on and reach the castle by nightfall. But you'll be tired from the road.
Is there any? There's not any stops between the inn and the castle.
There'll be smaller inns, but I mean, once you sort of get off the road to start heading towards where the castle was, yeah, it's going to be just wilderness all the way. You know, I think, let me look at your trappings. You haven't really got anything in terms of like a tent or anything, do you? You got a bedroll, but you.
I have a bedroll and
Yeah.
a hood.
Yeah.
I have matches.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, you know, with a you could try and find like you've got outdoor survival, so I'm happy to say that, you know, if you wanted to stop overnight somewhere, you could find a cave that you could set a camp in.
Yeah, I'll probably do that just so I'm at least not tired when I get to the castle.
Okay, give
So I
me
can speak without being inebriated.
give me an outdoor survival roll at +20 then.
I'm clicking on the wrong thing.
Yep, no problem. You're able to you know, find some food, whether you gather some berries or you hunt a rabbit or something, and then you spend a night overnight in the cave, and the next morning you're able to head off again towards the castle that is the home of the Black Arrow, supposedly. So what time of day do you want to aim to arrive there at then?
Probably between morning and noon, so like 10:30ish maybe.
Okay, you can do that.
Kind of after anyone would be eating breakfast or anything, but before lunchtime.
Yeah. You when you come in the side of the castle, because there is like an old roadway that leads up to it. It's definitely, you know, it shows signs of having been abandoned, but it also shows signs of having been, you know, work has been done, not too much to restore it, but to simply to stabilize it. So, you know, where there were holes in the walls, they have been refitted with like wooden scaffolding. They haven't been completely rebuilt as stone, but enough has been done to make sure that they provide some sort of rampart. The castle itself is still like its walls still stand at their full height. Like it hasn't completely crumbled to like waist high walls. It still stands, but it has fallen into disrepair over time. You can see figures standing in the battlements over the main gate. It is a typical sort of square castle, but it doesn't have a moat or a drawbridge. It simply stands proud in a clearing of woods, basically.
I guess I'll assuredly approach the figures at the gate.
All right. They're, as you get closer, you can see they're dressed in. They're not. What do you call them? They're not soldiers. They're wearing leathers more so. That they look more like you look. They look more like sort of bandits or highwaymen. They have bows up there, although they're not covering you under sort of drawn bows as you approach. They're sort of watching you warily, and as you sort of get within shouting range, one of them yells out, "Who goes there?"
I will shout back. Can I shout back in thieves' tongue?
Sure.
I've heard there's a step up over here.
They sort of confer quite amongst themselves. You mean like work?
Of course. There's stairs everywhere. Don't need to step up that way.
All right. There's a brief moment of talking, and then one of them goes out of sight. You hear some yelling to the other side of the wall, and then slowly, as if hand cranked, the portcullis starts to retract up to the point that only insofar as is required for like a person of your height to just duck under. They're not raising it fully to the roof. They're just raising it 5 feet sort of thing. And there's a couple more of these guys that have come down to where the portcullis is to meet you.
I will head in there and meet them.
Yeah. You're looking for work, yes?
Yes, I have. I have left my bandit group recently, and I'm looking for a new place of employment.
All right, we'll take you to see the boss.
Thank you kindly.
They start to lead you through the keep. They're probably you see a total of maybe 10 to 20 of these people. You're sort of trying to note which faces you see are you've seen before to try and get a feel for how many there actually are here. And you'd say it's between a dozen and 20 total, basically. The other thing you notice when you get into the keep itself is there's a very good smell in this keep. So you're a cook. Sorry?
That's not what I was expecting.
You're a cook. You know good food. This is this is mouth-watering. Something that's being cooked here this morning for breakfast. You're getting bacon. You're getting fresh eggs. It's permeated the castle enough that it smells really good. You can appreciate just from the scent. And they lead you up through stairways towards the top of the keep, and into a room which is sort of half bedroom, half planning room. You've got tables out with maps of the area. You've also got a bed in here and a desk. And in there is a woman who looks like this. Once again, not currently, brandishing an arrow at you. But that's a basic.
That one wouldn't surprise me if she was.
she smiles as you come in and sort of turns to the people that pull you up and says, "Thanks, thank you, boys. I'll take it from here."
Did I recognize anyone that might have been formerly from my mercenary group that might be here now?
No, I'd say that you have, in terms of like travel distance, you've come far enough that you're sort of outside the orbit of your own group. You know, just in the same way that your own group was outside the orbit of this group, which is why you didn't really know more about the fact that, other than the fact that they existed as a criminal concern.
Okay.
You must be Rosemary?
Hello, yes, that is my name. I've heard your name is Annalisa. Is that correct?
Yes. Normally here, I go by the name Black Arrow, but Annalisa Kesler is my name, yes. I understand from my spies at the Cross Lance that Wolfgang wanted you to come here and try and find out about my father's stolen gem.
That is how I found out where this place was, yes.
Well, I'll tell you what I tell anybody who asks about the blue flame. Anytime I asked my father where it was, he'd always tell me the same thing. He'd say, "Use your head, Anna." He never gave me more than that. So, if what you've come here for is to collect a gem and a reward from Wolfgang, then you're out of luck. But if you are what you appear to be, which is a capable woman, then I would still be interested in talking to you about whether you could find a place among my crew.
I am certainly in the business for work. I have stepped out on my own from my old group. The gem was just a good excuse to find this place, I guess. It is not of super importance to me.
What is it that motivates you, Rose? Can I call you Rose?
That is fine by me.
And for me, simply Anna is fine. What is it that motivates you, Rose? What is it that you seek in this life?
I would like to learn who my real family is. And if that requires money to figure it out, then making money is a good enough motivation right now to do that.
I understand that you had a crew beforehand. Can you tell me a bit more about them?
Small time group, nothing super exciting. Nomadic, no big castles for them. But they found me when I was too young to remember, and they have raised me since.
But what is it they did?
Typical mercenary and bandit stuff. Take on jobs, steal when needed. Nothing that would put them on any notable radar outside of their local confluence, but I certainly do not expect you to have heard of them all the way out here.
No, but you've told me what I wanted to hear, which is that your interest as a brigand is not simply to take money from any who would stand to lose it. We are a criminal group, yes, but we're also from this part of Reichland. You know, these are our people. This is our home. We are as much involved in protecting the downtrodden of this region as we are keeping the nobles on their heels and ensuring that power and wealth are redistributed in a more even manner, if you take my meaning. I'm not looking for
steal from the rich, give to the poor.
When it can be done. I'm
so to speak.
Yeah, I'm not looking for cold-blooded killers here. I'm looking for people that have a unique skill set and will help to make the world better, while also enriching themselves at the same time, because I can't expect people to work for nothing. Is this something
That works for me.
So this is something that would interest you?
Very much so. If I came here just for a diamond, then I would have been a poor choice of adventure for me. A diamond that may not even exist anymore.
Look, I'll be honest. I wish my father had told me where to find the blue flame, because I could certainly use something of that much value to improve our lot here, but he never did. So,
just to be sure, the picture doesn't have her wearing anything on her head. Does she have anything on her head, like a crown or something?
No.
Okay.
Are you looking for something in particular, or just see if she's wearing like a she has
just if there's anything that the gem might have been placed inside that he gave her?
No. She's just wearing a just a what? Sorry, all she has is a hood on her, like behind her arm, which is currently down. So, come over here. I want to show you what's currently the biggest issue in the region. She leads you over like a map that sort of shows, similar to what's on your Foundry screen right now, the sort of general Reichland area. The biggest issue I think we are facing right now in Reichland is a group called the Purple Hand. Have you heard of them at all?
Can I roll for that?
Yeah, you can roll Law Reichland at +20.
Yeah.
Not
really.
What I will say is that you've certainly seen, when you've been in towns, occasionally you've like passed a building or a wall, and there's been like a purple hand painted on the wall. Like not so much paint, like someone's like dipped their hand in paint and just slapped their hand against the wall and left the impression of a purple hand on the wall. So, you've seen it in more than one town, so you know that whatever this particular graffiti is more widespread than just the town you started in.
Well, I have seen their mark, but I don't know much beyond the hands on the wall.
They are, what I can tell, what we've been able to glean is a cult. We think they're a cult devoted to the dark powers, and they have been causing problems in this part of Reichland for several weeks now. You may not have heard, but there was a big issue only a few days ago in Bogenhafen, which appears to be tied to this particular... Sorry?
I just zoomed in on the map and found Bogenhafen immediately.
Oh, yes. That appears to have been tied to the cult. And so my main concern right now is ensuring that groups like this don't cause undue harm to the people. On top of that, I'm not going to say, I guess the people that I work with have been able to glean that there is another group operating, not so much directly in this area, but nearby, that appears to be in some sort of conflict with the Purple Hand. A group called the Red... Lawson. One sec. Let me find my notes. Death of the Reich. The Red Crown. I think another cult. I've been able to track. So there is an information broker operating out of a town. Operating out of an estate in Black Peaks. I believe the woman's name is Atelka Herzen. She seems to be helping the Purple Hand to coordinate. I've intercepted some of her letters sent to Bogenhafen.
You said Atelka Hurst?
Herzen. Atelka
Herzen.
Herzen. Herzen. Whether she's a part of the cult or just an unwilling accomplice, I'm not sure. I would assume the former. But she seems to be, at least locally, the linchpin keeping the cult going. Insofar as the cult appears to be like little cells, usually only 9 people at a time, working together to pursue nefarious ends that I will say almost caused serious issues in Bogenhafen just recently. You're welcome to simply join us here and stand guard of these walls and join us when we do some little escapades, or alternatively, as you are quite unknown in this area, I think that you could be of assistance trying to learn more about this cult and this individual in question.
Certainly feels like a intriguing offer that I would not oppose. So you just have a general location of where she might be?
I said she has. It's an estate in the Black Peaks. I have like most of an address. Like literally, if you were to go to the Black Peaks, I'm sure that you would see enough, to track this address down. I have made an arrangement with a local riverboat captain, a captain of a riverboat or a barge called the Lady Esther. They're taking some goods to Wiesbrook in the next couple of days. Wiesbrook would put you sort of in the right direction to head towards Altdorf and eventually Black Peaks, probably via Kemperbad. I could equip you, give you some funds for travel, and if you're willing to at least guard the shipment as far as Wiesbrook, along with some others, and then from there, when they return here, you could travel a bit further and see what you can find out.
That sounds like a plan to me.
She offers you a hand.
I will shake it.
Welcome aboard the Black Arrows. Are you proficient with a bow, out of interest?
I am, although I currently do not possess one.
She goes over to
one with me on my travels.
She goes over to a chest and opens it up, like not like a chest, like a sort of footlocker type thing, and pulls out a bow and a quiver with several arrows in it, and she pulls one of the arrows out and shows you that it's got the steel that makes the arrow tip has been blackened in fire, and they've used like a black wood as well to make as much of the arrow black feather fletchings. Sorry, so these are I guess our calling card, and she offers you the quiver and the bow.
I'll take the quiver and bow. I thank you. I am glad to be a part of this, and I hope to succeed in my task.
I mean, I think that stopping cults like this is its own reward, but I would also say if you find any opportunity to improve your own station in the process, I would certainly encourage you to take it.
Well, I appreciate the good faith.
So, in terms of what she can offer you equipment-wise, if you wanted to, she does have some mail coats, a bit heavier armor than what you're currently, but it's also quite heavy armor compared to what you currently have. So it's encumbrance 3 versus encumbrance 1.
Stick with what I
Because
have.
She hand weapons. Offers hand weapons you've already got. You've got the bow and. Other than that, she will also give you 10 shillings to cover any costs you might have. So shillings as opposed to copper. So add 10 shillings to you.
Okay.
Other than that, she basically spends the day introducing you to other members of the Black Arrows, including their halfling cook Sleeves, who was definitely the source of the wonderful smell you had before. Sleeves looks like he doesn't really want to be here, but doesn't have anywhere better to be, and so he works in the kitchens in the keep. You have a good chance to sort of, I guess, catch up with these people and sort of understand a bit more about them. And they are, it is very much Robin Hood and his merry men in terms of, this group believes that what they are doing is altruistic while also, making themselves a bit better off in the same process as well.
Yeah, I guess I'll try and talk to the halfling.
All right. He just sort of looks up as you come into the kitchen. Ah, you must be the new girl. Let me also show you his artwork too. There you go. He says to you while currently butchering a rabbit. I'm Sleeves.
Yes,
cook around here.
Yes, I am. I am new here around here. Just came in today. Doesn't sound like I'll be in this location long, but it's nice to at least.
Anna's asked me to make you at least a couple of packed meals to take with you.
And it'd be nice to at least meet the person that will be making my food for this trip.
If you want to help, he indicates towards like some another board. You can start by cutting those carrots over there.
Sure, I've got time on my hands, and I've cut a few vegetables in my time. And she'll head over to where the carrots are, he indicated.
He goes off into some like diatribe about the importance of picking the right carrots and like what makes a good carrot, but when he sort of comes over to expect you, he's like, oh, I didn't know you could julienne carrots. You sure you want to be out there on the road and not working in here with me?
My experience being a chef has a higher floor but a lower ceiling.
He sort of
I'm aiming for the ceiling.
He stops to process a moment. Is that a short joke?
It was not intended to be. Unless you found it funny, then it was intended.
Oh no, I was trying to work out whether I need to be offended or not. But no, okay. If cooking isn't your passion, then so be it. But it is certainly mine, and I have yet to find a better crew to cook for, despite multiple attempts to do so.
Well, at least you have a crew. That's the important part.
Someone else working in the kitchen yells out. He means he runs away from time to time and always finds his way back again.
Just nods.
Yeah. Sleeves does sort of like like flip off the nose to them as such at the implication.
So how did you end up with this group then?
Well, I was with another group that was traveling through the area, and that particular group was not particularly kind to me. I was sort of traveling with them through necessity, let's call it through force, and the Black Arrows attacked them, and well, I say they took me prisoner, but I'm sure they would have let me go if I wanted to, but they brought me back here instead and put me to work. And it's been a while since I've had, you know, a kitchen this size and, you know, plenty of appreciative people. So I guess it just sort of stuck.
Certainly worse things that could have happened in such a situation.
Yeah, certainly. I don't want to think about it though. But I'm sure at some point, you know, I don't plan to spend the rest of my life here. You know, I'd like to go and cook for nobles in the capital, or I don't know, travel to far off lands. Maybe go to Niflheim or Nuln. You know, somewhere else where I can learn new techniques and my talents can be properly appreciated.
Well, if I make my own name in the world and move up a bit, maybe I can take you along to a new place myself. But for now, that seems like a distant ideal.
Well, can always hope.
That's all we have out here.
Right.
And I guess she'll just keep helping him cook whatever he's cooking right now.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, he makes basically a bunch of, probably about 3 days worth of food for you and 3 others who'll be riding the riverboat up to Wiesbrook. So I'll just point out, like on the map, so let me just put this up so everyone can see it too. So we've worked out that Bogenhafen was, as you mentioned, down here.
Right. Yeah.
And Wiesbrook is up here. So right now you're sort of over in like the hills around here. Actually, you're probably heading down towards Trossroot. It would be where you pick up the riverboat to head towards Wiesbrook. That will then go on to Outdorf, and then she mentioned that in order to get to the Black Peaks, you'd be going via Kemperbad, which is all the way over to the east here. And so the Black Peaks are sort of like in this, where the map of glorious Reichland is where the Black Peaks are, basically.
It's a place Reichland doesn't want us to think about, clearly.
Well, it's not part of Reichland. It's part of Talabachland. But yeah, so I mean, obviously, all these are serviced by rivers, though. So you would take, if you're trying to get there, you would take the river all the way up to Outdorf, and then take the river down to Kemperbad and go cross land from there.
And just for reference, where did AP and not Dunamis, Spoon end off?
Bogenhafen.
Okay.
So yeah, so they finished at Bogenhafen, so their next plan is to head north back to Outdorf again. So maybe you'll meet on the river. Maybe not. We'll have to wait and see.
All right.
But to end this off, the following day, you and a group of other Black Arrows head on the road down towards what do we call it? Was Trossroot.
Trossroot to catch the ferry.
Yes, to meet a flat river barge called the Lady Esther, which is being operated by get the names of the relevant people. Get back to the camera. Names of the people. Sure, I have the details here. It's a man and the woman and his 2 children from memory. Here we are. Fritz. Fritz is the boat's owner. He's operating it with his son Albrecht and his daughter-in-law Heidi. And on top of that, there is also another passenger on board the barge named Renata, who is just basically, she's just a person who is taking the opportunity to travel from Bogenhafen to Wiesbrook, where she plans to disembark. She'd been at Bogenhafen for the Scharfenfest, which is like a big celebration and agricultural fair, which ended. In fact, let's assume that you chat with Renata at some point, because obviously she would know a little bit more about what happened in Bogenhafen. So I'll just quickly show you her appearance. Okay, for the audience at home, that's what she looks like. So at some point, you're just sitting on the barge waiting for it to leave. She's like, "Oh, you should have seen what happened in Bogenhafen. There was a fire in the warehouse district. It spread quickly. There was talk of cult activity and some attempt to murder the council of the city. Quite terrible on such a joyous occasion as a Schaufenfest. Who would think that like a cult could try and find root in a place like Bogenhafen, a fair town, Sigmar worshipping with a cathedral and good people. I was shocked to hear that there was some hints of a cult there.
It is certainly worrying the amount of cults talk that has come up recently around the Great Reichland.
Yes, well, have you heard about the the Emperor's edict?
I have not. That news has not made it to me yet.
So, apparently, he has claimed that there are, in fact, no mutants. That anyone that has a disfigurement, as he calls it, is simply a victim of circumstance, and any that would kill a person simply for such disfigurement is now guilty of a crime and will be sentenced to death. The use of the term mutant to describe somebody has henceforth been banned. This seems completely out of whack with the Church of Sigmar. I mean, we have witch hunters and men who normally find and track mutants. For the leader of the church to make such a proclamation is surely going to throw things out of whack for some period.
Definitely feels like a grand swing of circumstance.
They say he is
Has the
Sigmar's
church said
chosen.
anything about this edict?
Well, I'm sure that in the halls of Outdorf that's been discussed with robust thoughts, but at least in Bogenhafen, they were simply enforcing the rules so far, following the new edict. But I'm sure that as the church and the chosen of Sigmar, the Emperor Karl Franz himself, reach some sort of accord, it will be distributed to the masses. But for now, it's a frightening time.
Very much so. Hopefully this ship is well protected.
At this point, I think that the master called out, it's a boat, not a ship.
Regardless, the point stands.
All right. You and the rest of the group set off up the river towards Beastbrook aboard the Lady Esther. And that is enough of an intro for now.
Sounds good.
Any thoughts?
There's a lot going on with Miss Annalisa's head, so
I'm glad that you didn't miss the clues there. But you decided not to kill her and take her head, though.
well, you can always revisit that.
Sorry, that particular option is not lost to you.
I have a job for her, so at some point it's presumed I will return to her.
Yep.
But
It's
we'll
good.
see what wild branch we end up on.
It's good to see that you've gotten to experience the Warhammer Fantasy roleplay experience of failing more than you succeed.
It's to be expected,
Well,
yeah.
let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4 failures, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So no, you succeeded more than you failed, I should say. Sorry. So there we go. All right. Well, that's our intro for Rosemary Schilt, who I'm sure we'll see something happening soon with Dirk and Ludger. Lawson, if people are somehow, for some reason, seeing you for the first time on this, what do they need to know about you?
I play Blood Bowl with James. I play Blood Bowl with Dunamis on my own channel occasionally. There might be more Blood Bowl in the future. And for AP's channel, I am around during the intro hour, though you may only hear me a little bit as I do the best guest host impression ever of letting AP do all the talking.
Well, I mean, AP won't watch this, so you can happily call yourself the secondary host or the co-host of the show. He won't be able to dispute it.
I'll be the co-owner of the channel.
Very good.
I am an administrative assistant of the channel who occasionally has to review things for him.
Yeah. Well, Lawson,
not quite to the level of James, though.
Thank you for playing, and to the audience, thank you for watching. I will attempt to coordinate with these people about getting some more Warhammer Fantasy roleplay on the table as we embark on part 2 of the Enemy Within campaign, Death on the Reich. Which, given that the people are on the Reich, right? Actually, is this the Reich or is the Reich the other river?
I think
it's
maybe labeled Bogan next to Tro's suit.
Sorry, you're in the river Bogan. That's right. Yeah. So the river
turns into the Wiesbrook can't.
Yeah, I think
now.
I think the river Reich is the one that goes south from Outdorf towards Kemperbad and Null.
Through the Riker marshes.
Yeah, that'd be right. Yeah, so that's right. You're on the river Bogan right now.
Yeah, it says Reich underneath Kemperbad, so yeah.
So
this whole stretch here doesn't.
Oh, it says Reich. I see. Yeah, it says Reich. Yes, I can see that. Yeah. Very good. All right. Well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time here on the AP Game Reel channel.